back to my channel. Thanks for tuning in. Much appreciated. Hopefully you subscribed and hit the bell icon. So what I thought that I'd do today is kind of a fun one rather than just sitting here and watching me type out code, although I'll still be typing out code, but just something fun I thought I'd do to help people out there in the world hack NASA by learning HTML. So what we're going to be doing in this video is we're going to be going through, that was a little joke there, we're going to be going through every single HTML tag in alphabetical order. Um, and that should be fun. A lot of these you'll recognize. A lot of these I use on a regular basis, but some of them I don't think I've used before. But this is just for fun, and maybe you'll pick up something in the process. So let's get started. What I have here is Atom text editor. I have just an index.html, and I also have Atom live server running on my local host, which is over here. And I held down tab and typed HTML and hit enter, and it gives you this boilerplate. Of course, doc type, HTML tag, head tag, a meta tag, title, closing head, body, opening and closing HTML tag. We're going to go through all those, but so let's start. Number one, like I said, alphabetical order. Number one is this. So say you want to type, and I'm going to kind of go through fast. I'm going to select this, and I'm going to hit Control or Command on a Mac. I'm going to hit Control slash, and it gives us a comment. That's our first tag. This is how you comment things. So a greater than or equal to, exclamation point, 2 dashes, your comment, 2 more dashes, and a greater than sign to close it. That's number one. Number two is already in our document, which is this, a doc type, which tells it that we're using HTML, particularly HTML5. Our next one you should all be familiar with is an A tag, which of course is an anchor tag, which needs to be followed by an href, which can go to https://google.com. We can also add target equals blank, which will open it in a new tab, and we'll say Google will be the text. Here, Google, and it opens Google. So that's our link tag. Moving on. Delete that. Our next one is abbreviation. I'm not too sure about this. ABBR. I guess I should have used VS Code. It would have finished it for me. Title. Let's see what this gives us. Let's say testing. Let's see what that gives us. Testing, and it abbreviates it. Basically, it defines an abbreviation or an acronym. Okay. Next is, let's see here, address, which is a nice one. Address. Class, we don't need a class. We could say 123 Main Street. Break tag. Anywhere. USA. USA. See, 45236, whatever. Okay, let's see what that gives us. It gives a, I have this extra dealio there, sorry. Gives us that, just sort of formats our address. Okay, so it's a nice little style attribute you can add there. Next is an area tag. So a lot of shit here. Shape is default coordinates. Basically, it defines an area inside an image map, like if you're using Google. Let's see if we can do that. Let's see. US capital. I don't know if this is how you use it. I'm just guessing. I don't think that works unless you have, that doesn't. Anyway, that's for our area tag. Oh, I didn't, oh, it's a self-closing. So anyway, coordinates, you could put in your longitude and latitude. Okay, moving on. Next one is a pretty common one, especially if you're dealing with things like WordPress, article, oops, article. I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to, the heck is it? Geez, I can't think. Lorem ipsum generator. I'm going to get 5 paragraphs. Good. Put it in there. Save all. As you can see, it formats it, and it just gives us an article. Okay. So I can close this. We don't really need that. All right, so article, if you want to put something into an article, basically it just defines an article. Next one is the side. Side. And this one defines content aside from the page content. So let's keep that article in there. Let's put their side. Hello. And there you go. Just differentiates it a little bit. Let's get rid of this. Good. Next up, audio. Now I don't have an audio clip, but it basically allows you to put in a piece of audio if you have it linked, you know, in your file, sort of like an image audio source, and then you would type in, you know, rain sounds dot what is it, MP4 or something like that. So you can have an audio in there. Cool. Next up is B. Some of these you probably won't use, but things like this, a B tag, you could say hello world, and it just makes it bold. That's what B is. So we're on to the B's. Next one is base, hyperref. So what base does is it specifies the base URL target for all relative URLs in the document. Okay. Let's say google.com. And there you go. Okay. I don't know what that's supposed to do, to be honest with you. Let's see. Moving on. A BDI isolates a part of text that might be formatted in a different direction than the other texts. Interesting. Let's get that article back in here. Let's do BDI. And let's do closing BDI. And there you go. I don't know what the hell that was supposed to do, but whatever. That's what it that's what it does. Let's get rid of all this. Okay, next up is BDO, overrides the current text direction, so the opposite of BDI. Next is a block quote. Block quote site, I don't know, google.com. See what that gives us. Just makes it, just gives it that, those parameters, as if you're doing a quote from someone. If you've ever worked with WordPress, they have that as well. Next up is, of course, the body, where all your HTML goes. all your tags. Your head is different, but your body tag is where everything goes. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Um, Next up is a break tag. I'm sure everyone knows what that is. It's basically just, oh, I guess I should put that, let's put it here. It just gives a line break. That's pretty common when I use that pretty frequently. Just breaks the line. See? Let's get rid of that. That was pretty easy. Moving on. Next up is a button. I'm sure you've all heard of that. Uh, Creates a button. Okay. Right. Button. Pretty easy. Just enhances a link. Next up is Canvas. Now, getting into HTML Canvas uh, is pretty. You know what? I'll give this a little bit of style. I think. I don't know if this works. Uh, let's see if this is how it works. There you go. Gives you a canvas, and you can do artwork in there, quote unquote artwork, used to draw graphics. Next one is a caption. Caption. Um, let's give our caption. You know what? I'm just going to get a paragraph from now on. I don't think I need any more long text. So it just gives you a caption. Good. Caption defines a table caption. Next one is cite. And this one, excuse me, defines the title of a work. So let's see what that does. And there you go. It makes it italic and does that. Just different ways to format your text. Next is code. This one I don't think I've ever used, but I'm familiar with it. It allows you to type in, let's see, H4, closing H4, and oh, I forgot to close it. No, still didn't work. I forget how this works. Code, yeah. Let's see. Dash, 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 oops. No, that's not it. I don't know. Anyway, it defines a piece of computer code. So basically you could put code in your HTML tags and uh, it won't execute the code. It'll just display whatever you type in it, even if it's code. Our next one, this one's a little obscure, only because Bootstrap and Flexbox exists. Column, COL, span 2, sure, slash column. Okay, and there you go. Let's do a bunch of these. There you go. Actually, I wonder if we do row. There you go. Nothing. Cool. Anyway, it basically just specifies column properties for each column within a column group element. Oh, okay. So let's do that then. Say column group. Let's see what that gives us. Nothing. All right, cool. Anyway, but that is a column where it goes across like that, which is pretty cool. Moving on. Oh, next is the column group. After that is data. adds a machine-readable translation of a given content. All right, let's try it. Data, value. Let's just type in a bunch of junk. See what it gives us. Nothing. Let's type in this. Nothing. Anyway, that's the data tag. Not sure. Never use that. Data list specifies a list of predefined options for input control. Oh, okay. Let's see. Data list. Let's see. By the way, the source for this is W3 schools data list. And there we go. Okay. So we'll say option. This is probably easier. Value. We'll say AAA. Copy this. Paste it down. BBB. See what that gives us. Nothing. Data list. Oh, I see. I see. Okay, so you got to put input. Huh, okay. Name, test, ID, test, and then in here we put ID equals test so they can link. I guess that's right. Following the documentation. Yeah, there you go. I guess. I don't know, man. Oh, list. List equals test. Nope, that's not it. I don't know what the hell. Uh, name, ID. Yeah, that should be working. All right, moving on. DD. Let's see what that gives us. DD. And DD defines a description or value of a term in a description list. So there you go. I'm not going to show examples of all these things. Next is DEL. Defines text that has been deleted from a document. So I don't know when you would ever use that, but you know, there it is. DEL, let's see. Or DEL. Okay. So hello world. So if you want to just hide something, there you go. Big whoop. Okay, next. Next is details. Defines additional details that the user can view or hide. Details tag, summary. Let's see. Let's just copy this motherfucker. Good. Let's see what we got. Save all. There you go. Cool. Oh, there you go. Look. Got a little bit of functionality. We're learning together. Isn't that beautiful? Good. So that's details. Next is DFN. Specifies a term that is going to be defined within content. All right, let's look that up. Ones that I'm not familiar with, I'm going to go here and I'm going to look that mother effer up because that's what professionals do. I don't care what anybody says, especially if you're, you know, whatever. Excuse me, DFN. DFN. So let's take this, put it in here. Save all. There you go. That's nice. Is this Yeah, DFN. It specifies a term that is going to be defined within the content. So it's kind of like a heading. Next up is dialog. Defines a dialog box or window. Let's look that up. Let's see. Dialog. Let's look this mother fudger up. Sorry. Let's see. Is that in there? Let's see what this gives. Oh. There you go. This is a dialog window. Okay, great. So it just puts a little border around it. Predefined things. Next up is div. Now, if you've ever even heard of HTML, then you should have heard of div. It's one of the main, you know, tags of HTML. Say, but for those who don't know, I'll just give you an idea. Background color, this dark gray. We'll say width 100 pixels, height 100 pixels. Oh, whoops. Even in HTML, I'm making a mistake. There you go, and that's a div, and then you put stuff in there. There you go. That's a div. Div tag, one of the main building blocks of HTML. Next up is a DL, defines a description list. Let's look this mother effer up. DL. Let's see. A description list with terms and descriptions. This is nice. This is fun. We're discovering all this together. Like I said, I work with HTML almost every day. There you go. Makes a nice little list for you. That's cute. Let me close some of these tabs here. Okay, so good. Next up is DT, defines a term name in a description list. DT. Looks like DL. DT. The DT tag also, there's a DT. Yeah, okay. Let's see. Yeah, there you go. Great. Pretty self-explanatory, I guess. Next up on our list is an EM tag, defines emphasized text. I actually know what that is. I don't have to look it up. M is, you could say EM or M, world. It just emphasizes it by making it italic. You'll learn that a lot of these are the same. Next is embed, defines a container for an external application. Embed. Let's see what. Oh, that's probably for a YouTube video. Let's see, embed. See what W3 schools give us. I don't care what you say. Don't freaking knock W3 schools, especially for HTML. Anyway, so you can embed videos. I wonder if we can. Let's see.
To support local restaurants, we've been to every city, including Little Rock.
And even
Worcester.
And tonight, I'll be eating the
Chicken quesadilla
from
Tony's Tex-Mex.
in
Katie.
Yeah, there you go. Whatever. Anyway, that's how you embed. Next up, field set groups related elements in a form. Oh, okay, so this is form. I spell field right? Field set. Sometimes it's just easier for me to copy and paste. Yeah, see, I wouldn't want to type all this out. It'd waste you guys' time. But anyway, field set. Let's see what that does for us. There you go. That's nice. You know. Cool. That looks cool. I like that. And that's a basic HTML element. That's not anything that you have to import. Next up is fig caption. I've never heard of this. Defines a caption for a figure element. Okay, and next is figure. After fig caption is figure. Figure specifies self-contained content. Let's take a look at that. Fig. What is it? Caption? Yeah. There you go. That's nice. Now, of course, the image is not there, but you know, you get the idea. Cool. I should have downloaded. Let me pixels.com. Let me just get an image because we're going to be coming back to images later on. Sure, let's get this one. I'm going to download the small one. Pexels.com, by the way, is a free stock image photo thing that you can get and use however you like. Let's see. I'm gonna open up this. I'm gonna do a save as. Save as. Why is this? I'm just gonna change the name of this. Name img.jpg. We'll come back to that. Yeah. Let's change. So let's change this to img. There you go. So it gives it the description. All right, we wasted too much time on that. Next up is the footer, which is another core element, core tag of HTML, which puts everything at the bottom. It doesn't really, you still have to add CSS to it, but it just, it's a basic HTML thing. Next up, I'm sure you're all familiar with, is a form. And then you put inputs, input. There you go. We've already seen this. Bingo boingo. I'm sure you're all familiar with that. Next up is the heading tags. H6. Hello. H5. Hello. H4. Hello. I'm sure you're all familiar with this, but what the heck? Hello. H2. Hello. H1. Hello. And there you go, it gives you different sizes, H1 to H6, and it makes them bold. Next up is the head tag, which is already here. This is where your title goes. This is where your Bootstrap CDN link goes. In fact, I'll show you. Oops. Bootstrap. All your elements, all your links, your JavaScript links. I know sometimes they say JavaScript can go at the bottom, but if you add a defer, it puts it in there as well. These can go anywhere. And then let's see, type in H4, hello. There you go. See how it formats it a little bit differently because we added Bootstrap. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. So that's your head tag, very important. That's where your PHP goes, your JavaScript, etc. Next is the header tag. Now this is different than the head. It's basically like the footer, except it's at the top, and you can format that however you like. Okay, that's the header. So it goes at the top. It just defines the header a little more clearly rather than assigning a generic div. So let's say H4, hello, say H6, world, and I know we already did H tags. Now we're going to do an HR, okay, which is basically a dividing line, and it puts that line in there, and you can style this however you like. So it gives you a line there. Next up is our HTML tags. Obviously, excuse me, very important. It defines that this is an HTML element. I'll show you. You're going to get an error. You're not going to see anything. I don't know if that shows up on the console. No, all right, whatever, it doesn't. Anyway, very important. You can set the language and the direction. Next up is an I tag. Defines a part of text in an alternative voice or mood. I honestly haven't worked with that before. Let me close some of these. Obviously, most well known for using Font Awesome. Let's see what this gives us. All right, just formats it a little bit. Maybe makes it italic, I guess. Just like B is bold. Next up, iframe defines an inline frame. I haven't used this too much. Let's see. Let's see. Iframe. Here we go. This is obviously going to be from W3 Schools, but that's okay because they're cool. I don't care what any of you say. There you go, whatever. It just gives an iframe for a link or even a video if you have one. Let's see. Source. Yeah. So you can put a YouTube link in there and it puts it in the frame. Next up is an image tag. Obviously, everyone's familiar with that. Even I don't have to look that up. Source is image.jpg, our one from before. It has an alternate in case the image doesn't load. You could say image here. Gives us our image. If we change this and there's some sort of error, it gives us image here, the alt tag. Okay, pretty self-explanatory. That's a lot of fun to play around with. Next up, input, we already kind of went over, is in a form. This is your input. Whoops, input. It's a type of text. You can do number. Actually, I'll do a couple of those. Input, type text. You could do input, type of password, which will hide the characters that you type in there. I'll show you. So this is our number. It gives you a little thing there. This is our plain text, and this is our password. So that you could play around with those. They're fun too. Next up is INS, defines a text that has been inserted into a document. I'm not familiar with this either. I've never used this. Let's see, INS. Good. My favorite color is there, I guess. I don't know. INS, red. See what that gives us. There you go. Okay, so it just underlines it. What was it again? INS defines a text that has been inserted into a document. Okay. Next one is K KBD defines keyboard input. Okay, cool. Let's look that up. KBD. Let's see what that gives us. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay. So if you want to give instructions, that's nice. That's a nice little thing. KBD, keyboard input. Okay. Next is a label, which goes along with a form. It goes label, label for name, we'll say name, and then it associates with an input. Type of text name is name. Oops. And there you go. Cool. Next up, we have legend. Defines a caption for a field set element. Okay. So since we already did field set, let's look this up. Legend. There you go. Oh, okay. That's cool. Legend. Let's see what this gives us. So it's associated with a form, another form tag. And there you go. It gives us this little thing there, which is nice. You're not adding any CSS to this. It's just sort of already created for you. Next up, LI, which is a list item. I'm sure most of you are familiar with that. You can use either UL for unordered list, or you can use OL for ordered list. I'll use OL. I don't use it that much. LI is a list element. Hello. I don't care if I spelled that wrong. LI world. And it just puts them like that. Ordered list is with a number. Unordered list puts a little bullet point. I'll show you. And we'll come back to that. Or I guess we'll skip that when we get to it. And it just gives it a bullet point. Cool. All right, moving on. Next is a link, which I already showed you technically is where you link Bootstrap up here in the head tag. Inside the head tag, you can bring in your style sheet, and that's how you would do it. Pretty self-explanatory. Or your Bootstrap CDN link, whatever. Next up is main. Now, instead of using a generic div tag, we use main for our main content. Okay. Now, keep in mind it's not formatted. You have to do all the CSS yourself. It's just a better way to format your HTML structure. Next is map. Defines an image of a map. I don't know how to link that in there off the top of my head. So let's say map. Should have got a glass of water. I'm thirsty here, guys. Let's do this. See what this gives us. Area. Oh, coordinates. Okay, cool. Sure. I don't know. Might not work, but defines a map. Nah, it didn't work. Anyway, look it up. That's a fun one. Uh, mark defines marked or highlighted text. So let's say hello. Oops. Marked world. Oh, cool. It throws a little yellow thing on it like it's highlighted. Next is meta, and we already have one in here, your metadata. You can use this for SEO to type in search elements for Google and stuff. Look those up. They're pretty important. Next is a meter. Defines a scalar measurement with a known range. I don't even know what a scalar measurement is, so let's look that puppy up. That is meter, as in the measurement. Here we go. Let's look this up. Let's test this out, see what this gives us. Oh, there you go. Cool. Gives you a little thing there, and no CSS required. That's cool. Next up is nav. Now for your nav bar. Now this is, again, just like header and footer, this gives us some home, about. You could, this is where you put your nav bar. Again, you have to do all the CSS yourself. It's just a HTML5 way to differentiate between in your HTML structure. Next up is no script. Now this has to do with JavaScript. It defines an alternate content for users that do not support client-side scripts. So it's for your JavaScript. Next up is object. It defines a container for an external application. Interesting. Object, let's see. HTML object tag. Okay, cool. Let's see what this is. Looks like they're using an image. So I'm going to replace that with our image there. See what that gives us. There you go. Little funky. Let's take away the height and it should even out. There you go. So it's an object. Excuse me. Next up is OL, ordered list, which we already went over. That was the one where it puts it with numbers instead of a bullet point. Next up is opt group, defines a group of related option in a drop-down list. So similar to that other one that we did for drop-down. I'm not going to go over that. Next up is option, which goes with the opt group or any other drop-down list. After that is output, defines the result of a calculation. Let's see. See what that gives us. Oh, okay. So another one to do with forms. You'll notice a lot of these things get used over and over again. Oh, cool. There you go. So whatever number you're on, it adds 25 and it gives you the output. I don't know. It's kind of fun. I didn't know that. Next up is a P tag, pretty obvious for paragraph tag. And if you have Bootstrap installed, it just formats it a little bit more. It's just a P tag, paragraph tag, no big deal. Next is param, not param as a node, but defines a parameter for an object. Let's look that up. Param. Oh, so it has to do with an object. Okay. So it looks like it, let's see. Okay. Looks like so you can put it on autoplay. Interesting. So param has to do with object. Next up is picture, defines a container for multiple image resources. Let's see. Interesting. So there you go. Cool. Just another way to do that with images. Next up is pre. Now this is defines pre-formatted text, as I'm sure you could have guessed. Here we go. There you go. That's nice. Just different ways to give your output. Different HTML tags, which is what this video is all about. Okay, next is progress. Represents the progress of a task. Let's see. Excuse me. Okay, so progress. Huh, interesting. Let's see what that looks like. Oh, downloading progress. Okay. Value you can change to, I don't know, 85. There you go. All right, that's interesting. So, no CSS or JavaScript required. Of course, you have to change that manually, but if you did it from JavaScript, it would be dynamic. Next up is Q, defines a short quotation. Let's see. Q, site. Just another text formatting thing, I'm sure. Oh boy, there we go. Oh, it puts it in quotes for you. Okay. So if you need to generate something dynamically, I can do that. Next up is RP, defines what to show in browsers that do not support Ruby annotations. I don't even know what that means. So let's see, RP. Let's see what W3 Schools gives us. Interesting. And also Ruby is our next one. There you go. I don't know, whatever. After RP is Ruby, which I just said. Ruby defines an explanation of characters. Next up is S, defines text that is no longer correct. Let's see. S, hello, world. Yeah, it puts a strike through it. That's what I thought. Okay. Haven't used that before, but that's a good idea. SAMP is our next one. Defines sample output from a computer program. Let's check with H3 Schools. W3 Schools. Cool. Let's see what this gives us. I like this already. Good. Great, guys. We're doing good. We're almost there. Don't worry. Message from the computer just sort of formats it in a computer language type of thing. Great. Next is script, our script tag. I'm sure you know what that is. Let's go back to our old buddy. So I'll just type it in. What the heck? I was going to do Bootstrap, but forget it. Takes too much time. So our script tag is where we bring in our JavaScript. You can delete that. You don't need that anymore. You need a source is the main thing. And then you would type main.js to bring in your JS file and put those in the bottom. You can also script defer, and that'll load everything else on the page and load your JavaScript last so it doesn't hold up loading anything else. Next up is section, another core HTML thing. Again, you have to do all the CSS for this, but it's just a better way to format your structure. So essentially you would have header, main, and then in your main you would have section, and then maybe in your section you would have article, and then under main you would have footer, like that. You're not going to see anything, but but that's kind of how you would structure your HTML. Okay. Next is select, defines a drop-down list. Let's take a look at that real quick. I'm not familiar with that. Oh yeah, select. Right. That is again just from a drop-down list here. It gives you all the options. So select, it means it's a drop-down, and then you can click and select it. It's just a different way of doing it from the other ones. Next up is small, defines smaller text. Okay, so let's say small, hello, oops, world. Okay, so it makes it a little smaller. That's kind of cool. I guess if you were to put here in H3 world, it would just make it a little smaller, without any other format. Next up, source defines multiple media resources from media elements. Let's take, I think I know what that is. Source. Audio controls, so to bring in an MP3, right? Whatever. It's a way to bring in your source. Next up is a span, pretty common. This one used quite frequently if you want to put two things left to right of each other. Just show you this a little bit easier. Getting down towards the end, guys. Hopefully you're still awake. Anyway, it just keeps everything in line. Hopefully you're still awake, guys. All HTML elements in alphabetical order. Strong is our next one. strong, hello world. It just makes it bold. So the B or the bold thing and strong are basically the same thing. Style, define style information for a document. This goes in the head, or better yet, in another file. Actually, this, if you put your CSS in another file, you don't need to do this. Say body, color, oops, not background color. Uh, there you go, it gives it that color. Okay. But again, guys, I would highly suggest, and I'm sure most guys would, most developers would agree, that you put it in a separate thing. Huh, why did it go like that? Everything's gray now. I don't know, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm getting tired. Sub is our next one after style. Define subscripted text. Let's see. Subscripted text. There you go. Just makes it smaller for like if you're doing a reference or something. Next up is summary. Defines a visible heading for a details element. Let's see what W3 schools give us. What is this? Summary. Summary. Summary tag. Okay, so it just gives us a little bit of. There you go. That's nice. Summary. There you go. Epcot Center. Cool. I've been there. Nobody cares. SUP. Next is SUP. SUP defines superscripted text. Same thing as the one we just did. Next up is SVG, which I don't have an SVG. Defines a container for SVG graphics, like a little GIF animation. Pretty self-explanatory. The next up is mostly for tables. And rather than typing that all out, we're gonna go here. I do know what a table is, guys. Don't mess around with me. It's just easier, and I don't want to take up too much time. There you go. There's that, and so we have. Where are we? I'm just gonna grab this whole thing. Table, and it gives us a table. There you go. So let's break down this table. So table is the actual attribute. TR, which is a table row, which goes across. Then table heading, which makes it centered and bold. Then you have another table row, and this is your table data. So this just sort of formats it a little bit, and on and on and on. And then your closing table tag. Okay. So I do know what a table is. Okay. Cool. So there's also, let's undo that. Let's bring back this. So also in here we can add this one, table body, to your table body, everything inside that. Table body. And there's also, we might as well kill two birds with one stone. Under here, we're going to put table head. As you can see here, / table head. And it just defines them a little bit more. Okay. Very nice. Table data. Okay. Table footer, table header, T head. Good. And table row. All right. So that's pretty much everything with tables. Next up is template. Defines a container for content that should be hidden when the page loads. Interesting. I didn't know that. Close that. Template. HTML template tag. Let's see. Oh, interesting. So it's giving us some JavaScript. Template. Flower. Let's change this here. Image. So let's see. Function show content document.get element by ID template, which is this, the first template, clone template.content.clone node true document.append child the clone. So we're going to add on. Let's see. Show hidden content. There you go. With a little bit of, oh, interesting. So it just continues to clone it. Interesting. Okay, I like that. That's cool. All right. Yeah, I like that. I definitely use that. Next up is text area, which usually is used in a form. Text area, it just basically means instead of an input where you have one row, it just allows you to create, you know, rows. You can say 100, and that just makes it bigger. You know, if you were gonna put an article in there or something. So that's a text area for forms. Let's see what's next. Time. I didn't know there was a time one. Let's see what this gives us. Let me close these tabs here. Time. HTML time tag. Let's see what this gives us. Oh, it's probably just formats the time. You have to enter it in, obviously, from JavaScript or wherever. Although they have it. There you go. Yeah, time. Just a way to format the time. No big whoop. Next up is title. Defines a title for a document that's already here. That's this. That appears up here. Let me close this. That's this up here. This right there. That's our title tag. That goes in the head always. Let's see. Ooh, we're in the home stretch here. Next up is track, which I don't know what the heck that is. Track. Track. Let's see. Okay, looks like it has to do track subtitles. Okay, sure. Why not? Doesn't give us an example. That's fine. Who gives a shit? You can figure that out. Next up is you. Defines some text that is unarticulated and styled differently from normal text. Let's look that up. I haven't used that before. Just you and me. Okay. There you go. Okay. Big whoop. Just formats it a little bit. But that is you. Define some text that is unarticulated and styled differently from normal text. Okay. Next up is var. Defines a variable. I didn't know we had variables in HTML. Let's see what this gives us. Obviously, we all know var in JavaScript and other languages, but apparently in HTML there's one as well. See var, which in ES6 we don't use that. Okay, just formats it a little bit. Again, a lot of these are just formatting without giving it CSS, which you could easily do. Next to last is video. Defines embedded video content. Again, same as embed, but just a different way to do it. We're in the home stretch here, guys. So there you go. Defines a video. Video with source. You put a source in there and yada yada. Okay, guys. Last one. I know you thought, you know, you're on the edge of your seat. I know it. Last one is WBR. Defines a possible line break. WBR. Okay. Save all. Line Ajax. There you go. And it just stops it from having a line break. WBR word break opportunity tags specifies where in a text it would be okay to add a line break. There you go. Too long, the browser might break it in the wrong place. You can use the WBR element to add the word break opportunities. There you go. That's it, guys. We have gone through the entire alphabet of HTML tags, and I hope this was as informative and stimulating to you guys as it was to me. As always, if you have any video requests, particularly in the JavaScript or HTML CSS area, please leave them in a comment below. If you found any part of this incredibly riveting video helpful, maybe you picked up something that you didn't know existed before, then by all means leave a like and hit that subscribe button and the bell icon, guys. All right, guys, that's it for the video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe. Take care.